Hello, dear students from all over Egypt. Welcome to today's session. And today, inshallah, we will finalize our beautiful novel. Okay. And today we will take chapter 6 for the Count of Monte Cristo. Okay. And chapter 6 with the title of The Secret of the Treasure. السلام عليكم أولادنا الغاليين في كل مكان. أهلا بيكم في محاضرة النهاردة إن شاء الله هيكون الخاتمة للنوفل الجميلة بتاعتنا The Count of Monte Cristo. And as usual, we will start with the new vocabs that you are gonna learn in chapter 6. So now we have the word priest. Priest. It's a noun, and the definition of the priest is a religious leader authorized to perform sacred rituals. A priest يقصد بها القسيس. For an example, the priest spoke kindly to the villagers. And now we have buried. Buried. So buried is an adjective, and the definition of it is placed underground or hidden from view. So buried بمعنى مدفون, something that we bury from eyes or hidden from eyes. For example, the treasure was buried deep in the sand. Well, now we have visions. Visions. So it's a noun, and the definition of the word visions, images or ideas seen in the mind. So visions, رؤية or رؤى. For example, he described strange visions during the night. Be beyond measure. Be beyond measure, the definition of it is too great to be calculated or described. Be beyond measure يعني فوق مستوى أي قياس. Something that's really cool, really great to be calculated or described. For example, her happiness was beyond measure. Now we have some questions for you to challenge your mind and check your understanding. A person who performs religious ceremonies is called a liar, fool, priest, smuggler. And the correct answer is priest. If something is placed underground, then it's hollow, buried, carved, or deserted. And something is placed underground, then it's buried. It's buried, of course. Images seen in the mind are called echoes, visions, opportunities, identities, and it's called, or they are called, visions. Still with the new vocabulary, we have reward the good. Reward the good. The definition of it, to give benefits to those who behave well. Reward the goods أو reward the good يعني نكافئ الجيد أو نكافئ من يقوم بعمل جيد. So to give benefits to those who behave well. For example, teachers should reward the good behavior of students. Now we have the guilty. The guilty. So the definition is people responsible for wrongdoings. So the guilty, طبعا it's a noun and it means المذنبين. For example, the guilty were punished by the court. Still with the vocab. Don't let hatred consume you. Don't let hatred consume you. The definition of it is do not allow anger or hatred to control you. لا تدع الغضب يمتصك، أو لا تدع الغضب يستهلكك أو يستهلك الطاقة الخاصة بيك. For example, he advised his friend not to let hatred consume him. Now we have vengeance. Vengeance, it's a noun, and the definition of it is punishment inflicted in return for harm. For example, he wanted vengeance for the injustice. Now we have some questions for you to challenge yourself, so do it with us. The phrase beyond measure means very small, carefully counted, too great to be calculated, recently found, and the correct answer is too great to be calculated or too great to calculate. This is beyond measure. To give benefits to those who behave well means to raise suspicion, reward the good, fuel greed, pretend. And the correct answer is to reward the good. People responsible for a crime are called the innocent, the guilty, fools, liars, and people who are responsible for a crime are called, of course, the guilty. Continuing with the new vocabulary, we have swim upward. Swim upward. So the definition of it is to move towards the surface of water. For example, the diver swam upward quickly. Under a false name. So under a false name, the definition of it is using a name that's not real. For example, he traveled under a false name. Still with the new vocabulary. Path to freedom. Path to freedom. The definition of it is a way or plan that leads to liberty. So it's a way or a road to find your freedom, or a plan you make to seek your freedom. For example, education can be a path to freedom. Now we have mysterious. Mysterious. It's an adjective and it means difficult to understand or explain. It comes from the noun mystery. And for example, she heard a mysterious sound. Now do it with us. So don't let hatred consume you. Advise someone to seek revenge, control anger, hide identity, or escape danger. And don't let hatred consume you. Advise someone to control his anger. The desire to punish someone for harm done is called grief, duty, vengeance, opportunity. So this is the desire to punish someone for harm done is called vengeance, and it equals the word revenge, intiqam. So to move toward the water's surface means to plunk, swim upward, echo, carve, and the correct answer is swim upward or swim upward. Chest, chest. It's a noun and it's a large, strong box for storing valuables. So it's like a box. You keep the valuable thing for you inside it. For example, the priest opened the chest of gold. Raise suspicion. Raise suspicion. It means to cause doubt or mistrust. So to mistrust someone, it means, or someone do something suspicious, it means he raised, okay, suspicion. He caused people to doubt him. For example, his behavior raised suspicion. The time had come. The time had come. It means the right moment arrived. So when you decide to do something and you wait and wait and wait, and finally, when you reach the time to do it, you say, the time had come. For example, the time had come to tell the truth. No more lies. Bound with iron. Bound with iron. So it means tied or fastened using iron. For example, the door was bound with iron chains. Using a name that's not real means acting under a false name beyond measure with determination out of duty. And the correct answer is under a false name. To pretend that this name is yours, but it's not, and act with another name rather than yours. A plan that leads to liberty can be described as a sense of duty, path to freedom, step plan, fortune, and the correct answer is path to freedom. Something difficult to explain is deserted, mysterious, hollow, icy. And when we find something that's really difficult to explain, we call it, it's mysterious, something that we can't explain. We can't find any explanation for it. And now we have carved in. Carved in. It means cut or engraved into a surface. For example, his name was carved in stone. Blinded by the brightness of his fortune. Blinded by the brightness of his fortune. So the definition of it is unable to think clearly because of great success or wealth. So he's like someone whose eyes are blind due to the bright or the sparkle of gold in front of him. He was blinded by the brightness of his fortune. Means that he is not thinking well. Sense of duty. Sense of duty. It means a feeling of responsibility. For example, she acted out of a strong sense of duty. So she feels responsibility or responsible for those people or these things. Fuel. Fuel. It's a verb and it means to increase or encourage something. For example, his words fueled her anger. It means that he increased her anger by his words. Now we have some questions for you. So, a strong box for valuables is called a chamber, chest, crown, clef. So, it's not a chamber, not a crown, and not a clef. It's chest. To cause doubt or mistrust is to fuel, raise suspicion, reward, pretend, and to cause doubt means to raise suspicion. The expression the time had come means time passed slowly, the right moment arrived, time was wasted, time was measured, and the time had come means the right moment arrived. Start with the new vocabulary. Greed. Greed. It's a noun and it means a strong desire for more than needed. So when you want to take things that doesn't belong to you or want more than you need from it, this we call greed. For example, greed can destroy relationships. And now we have grief. Grief. It's a noun and it's deep sadness, especially after loss. So if we have someone who died, okay, and he is really close to us, now we feel or we are in grief, in great sadness. For example, she felt great grief after his death. Cannonballs. Cannonballs. It's a noun and it's heavy metal balls fired from cannons. For example, cannonballs damage the wall. And now we have chamber. Chamber. It's a noun and it equals a room. So the king entered the chamber. And now we have cliff. Cliffs. It's a noun and it means steep rocks faces. So the cliffs rose above the sea. Now we have some question for you to challenge yourself. So do it with us. A strong feeling of responsibility is a grief, identity, sense of duty, opportunity, and its sense of duty. To increase anger or emotion is to echo, fuel, curve, bend, and it means to fuel your emotions, to increase your anger. A strong desire for more than one needs is greed, grief, duty, determination, and it's greed, of course. You want more than you need. Now we have echo. Echo. It means to repeat a sound. So when you are in a very wide place and you say a word and this word comes back to you again. So this is echo. For example, his voice echoed in the hall. And now we have emeralds. Emeralds. It's a noun and it means green precious stones. For example, emeralds decorated the necklace. After that, we have exhausted. Exhausted. It's an adjective and it means extremely tired. For example, she felt exhausted after work. And now, dear students, we are going to talk about chapter 6, but on brief. So, chapter 6 in points. The secret of the treasure. After the baby dies, Edmund puts his escape plan into action. He hides his friend's body in his own bed and gets into the burial sack. The guards don't notice and carry the sack outside. They throw the sack into the sea, and Edmund plunges into the cold water. Deep sadness after loss is called, of course, we call it grief. Still with chapter 6 in points, we will continue. He uses a sharp object to cut the sack open and swims to the surface. After 14 long years, he is finally free. He is rescued by a boat of smugglers and hides his true identity. And here is after 14 long hours, he is finally free. He is rescued by a boat of smugglers and hides his true identity. He works with them, patiently waiting for a chance to get to the island of Monte Cristo. When they land on the island, he goes off alone with a pickaxe. He follows the base map and discovers the hidden treasure chest. Inside is a fortune of gold, diamonds, and jewels beyond imagination. In that moment, the innocent sailor dies and a new powerful man is born, the Count of Monte Cristo. Now we have some questions for you, dear students. So, a large, strong box used to store valuable items is called a chest, as we have seen. To make a sound to repeat in a large empty place is to echo. Something that's empty inside is described as icy, deserted, hollow, or buried. And it's hollow, something that's really empty from inside. And now, dear students, we brought chapter 6 in a video. So watch it, and after that, we will have some questions for you. So it's video time now.
Chapter 6. The Secret of the Treasure. Created by Mrs. Wafah. Edmond Dantes had lost his only friend. The death of Abbe Faria left him in deep sorrow. The priest had been his teacher, his father, and the light in his long years of darkness. But along with grief, Edmund felt a new power rising in his heart, a sense of duty, hope, and determination. The priest had given him more than knowledge. He had given him a future. Alone with a secret for several days, Edmund sat in silence in his cell, holding the small parchment the abbé had left him. On it were strange symbols and words, which described the hiding place of a great treasure buried on the island of Monte Cristo. Each time he read the paper, his mind filled with visions, mountains of gold, bags of silver, boxes of jewels, rare statues, and crowns once worn by princes. The treasure of the Spada family was said to be beyond measure. At first, Edmund thought it was a dream, too fantastic to be real. But the abbé was never a liar or a fool. If he had spoken of the treasure, then it truly existed. And if it existed, Edmund swore he would find it. This treasure, he whispered to himself in the darkness, is not for greed. It is the tool given to me by God. With it, I shall reward the good and punish the guilty. 36. The secret of the treasure. The priest's last lesson. Edmund remembered the old priest's final words. Do not let hatred consume you. Use the treasure for justice, not for vengeance alone. He repeated those words often, as if they were a prayer. Yet in his heart, anger burned like a hidden fire. Danglars, Fernand, Villefort, those names echoed in his mind. Each man had stolen his youth, his love, and his freedom. But Edmund forced himself to wait. First escape, then treasure, then justice. The plan to escape the death of Abbe Faria gave Edmund an unexpected opportunity. One morning, as the guard carried food into his cell, he heard them speak in low voices. The old priest is dead, one said. We'll sew him into a sack tonight and throw him into the sea. Edmund's heart jumped. If the guards carried away his sack, perhaps he could take the abbé's place. In the darkness of night, no one would notice until it was too late. That evening, when the guards left, Edmund acted quickly. He dug into the priest's cell, found the body, and kissed his forehead one last time. Then, with trembling hands, Edmund laid the body in his own bed and covered it. Next, he slipped into the sack meant for the dead. He tied the rope from inside as best as he could, holding a sharp piece of iron in his hand to cut it later. His heart beat wildly. If the plan failed, he would be thrown alive into the sea and drowned. But if it succeeded, freedom awaited. The burial at sea soon. 2 guards entered. Without checking, they lifted the heavy sack, carried it along the corridors, and climbed to the top of the fortress wall. Edmund felt the cold night air and heard the waves below. Ready, one guard asked. Throw him, said the other. The sack flew into the air, and Edmund plunged into the icy sea. The shock of water nearly made him scream, but he bit his lips. Weighted down by cannonballs tied to the sack, he began to sink fast. Desperate, he cut through the canvas with his iron piece, tore the rope, and swam upward with all his strength. At last, his head broke the surface. He filled his lungs with air and looked back. Behind him stood the black shadow of Chateau d'If, the prison of his nightmares. In front of him stretched the endless sea, his path to freedom. A sailor once again, Edmund swam all night, guided by the stars as he had done years before as a sailor. Exhausted, he reached a small deserted island. There he rested, half dead but alive. The next morning, he saw a fishing boat passing. Using a piece of wood as a signal, he called out. The fishermen pulled him aboard. "Who are you?" they asked. "A poor sailor shipwrecked in the storm," Edmund replied. It was not the full truth, but it saved him. From that day, Edmund returned to the sea under a false name. He worked with sailors, hiding his real identity, waiting for the chance to reach the island of Monte Cristo. 38 dreams of Monte Cristo, the secret of the treasure as the days turned into weeks. Edmund's mind returned again and again to the treasure. He studied maps whenever he could, searching for the location of the mysterious island. He remembered every detail of the Abbe's story. The rock formations, the hidden cave, the chest buried deep underground. At night, while the other sailors slept, Edmund whispered to himself, "Monte Cristo, the key to my destiny." A test of patience, it was not easy to reach the island. Ships did not often pass there, and Edmund could not openly ask without raising suspicion. So he waited, sailing from port to port, gathering money and supplies. At last, luck came. A smuggler's boat he had joined decided to land near Monte Cristo to hide goods. Edmund's heart raced. The time had come. The island of rocks Monte Cristo appeared on the horizon like a sharp tooth rising from the sea. Its cliffs were dark and steep, and no one lived there. To the sailors, it was a lonely, useless rock. To Edmund, it was paradise. When the others were busy unloading goods, Edmund pretended to hunt for rabbits. Carrying a pickaxe and supplies, he climbed the rocks to the secret spot described in the Abbe's papers. He searched for hours, comparing the signs. A hollow rock shaped like a cross, a small stream that ran dry in summer, a fig tree growing from stone. At last, he found the place. The hidden chamber. Edmund's hands trembled as he dug. The ground was hard, but his strength was fueled by hope. Soon, his pickaxe struck something solid, a wooden chest bound with iron. Edmund's hands trembled as he dug. The ground was hard, but his strength was fueled by hope. Soon, his pickaxe struck something solid, a wooden chest bound with iron. With a cry, Edmund pulled it free. He broke the lock, lifted the lid, and gasped. Inside lay mountains of gold coins, silver bars, diamonds that sparkled like stars, rubies red as fire, emeralds green as the sea. Statues carved in marble, crowns decorated with jewels, and weapons made of shining steel filled the chest. It was more than treasure. It was a kingdom in a box. A new man is born for a long time. Edmund could only stare, blinded by the brightness of his fortune. Then he knelt and whispered, "Abbe Faria, your secret lives. I am free, and I will use this gift." At that moment, Edmund Dantes, the poor sailor, died, and a new man was born. The Count of Monte Cristo. With this treasure, he would build a new identity, powerful and untouchable. He would reward those who had been kind, such as his faithful friend Morel, and he would punish those who had destroyed his life. The sea had carried him from prison to freedom. The treasure of Monte Cristo would carry him from despair to destiny.
Well, that was the end for chapter 6. And now let's move to the questions. What effect did Abe Faria's death have on Edmond Dantes? Well, Abe Faria's death left Edmund in deep sorrow, but it also awakened in him a sense of duty, hope, and determination, because the priest had given him knowledge and a future. What secret did Abe Faria leave Edmund before his death? He left Edmund a parchment containing symbols and words that describe the hiding place of a great treasure buried on the island of Monte Cristo. Why did Edmund initially doubt the existence of the treasure? Well, he thought the treasure was too fantastic to be real and believed it might be a dream. Why did Edmund finally believe the treasure truly existed? Well, because the Bavaria was never a liar or a fool, and Edmund trusted his words completely. How did Edmund say he would use the treasure? Well, he said he would use it to reward the good and punish the guilty, not for greed, of course. What warning did Epiphanius give Edmund in his final lesson? He warned Edmund not to let hatred consume him, and to use the treasure for justice, not only for vengeance. What unexpected opportunity did Epiphanius' death give Edmund? Well, it gave Edmund the chance to escape by taking the priest's place in the burial sack that would be thrown into the sea. How did Edmund prepare for his escape plan? He placed the priest's body in his own bed, slipped into the sack meant for the dead, tied the rope from inside, and kept a sharp piece of iron to cut himself free. What danger did Edmund face during the burial at sea? He risked drowning because the sack was weighted with cannonballs and thrown into the icy water or the icy sea. How did Edmund manage to serve or to survive after being thrown into the sea? He got through the sack, freed himself from the rope, and swam upward until he reached the surface. Where did Edmund go after escaping from Chateau d'Oeuf? Well, he swam to a small deserted island and later joined fishermen who rescued him. Why did Edmund hide his true identity after his escape? Well, he used a false name to protect himself while waiting for a chance to reach Monte Cristo. How did Edmund finally reach the island of Monte Cristo? Well, he joined a smuggler's boat that decided to land near the island to hide goods. How did Edmund find the exact location of the treasure? He follows the signs described by Abepharius, including a cross-shaped hollow rock, a seasonal stream, and a fig tree growing from stone. What did Edmund discover inside the hidden chest? He found gold coins, silver bars, diamonds, rubies, emeralds, statues, jeweled crowns, and weapons made of shining steel. How does the text describe the treasure? Well, it's described as more than treasure, a kingdom in a box. What important change happened to Edmund at the end of the chapter? Well, Edmund Dantes, the poor sailor, symbolically dies, and a new man is born, the Count of Monte Cristo. What does Edmund promise to do with his wealth? He promised to reward those who were kind to him, such as Morel, and punish those who destroyed his life. Well, that was the end of chapter 6. From me, all best wishes. Thank you, dear students, and see you soon, inshallah.